Okay, good afternoon. Appreciate you all being here. Injury update here, real quick. Jack Miner, we expect he played I think about 15 plays in the game, roughly that. I'm not sure exactly the exact number, and really gave it a great effort. But we pulled him out, and we expect him to be 100% back this week. So we're looking at him as a starter going into this week's game against South Carolina. James Franklin will play if he can play. So we'll see how the week goes practice-wise and up till game time, and see where we're at from there. And hopefully he'll be ready to play. Xavier Gooden, we expect to return. He had a hamstring strain. He sat out last week. That was the only game he sat out. And those are a little bit touchy, working with our medical staff, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get him back 100%. We certainly miss him. And then Rolandis Woodland is questionable with a hamstring also. That happened in practice last week. Congratulations to Conrante Walker for a really some couple huge plays in a really big game, and it's nice to see him do that. And I've seen him grow and mature as he's come to Mizzou, and it's really cool to see all that happening. Preparing for South Carolina, a really good football team. I have great respect for Steve Spurrier. Ever since our bowl game, when I see him at coaching events and certainly SEC now meetings, that he just thinks he's a really good coach, and very impressed with him. They're a very physical team, very consistent with the SEC. Their defensive front is outstanding. Offensively, they are also. They have a couple quarterback issues that we have, and we'll see how that sorts itself out. And then Lattimore, their running back, their all-conference, all-American running back, is returning from ACL surgery, it was my understanding, and he looks really good. So he's a very impressive player, and so we're preparing and excited about the opportunity to play. I hear it's a great place to play. It's a great game day event there, and we'll work very hard to bring our best effort.
Gary, putting Jack back in, can you kind of explain the process of having him to tackle, moving Mitch back to the center?
Well, that's where he goes now, and that's what we try to do is to make sure to just get the right players, the right five up there. We felt that was the best thing to do. Brad McNulty has been playing very, very well, and he is younger, and we just felt that would be the right thing to do. And so we kind of going back a little bit to the way we were prior to all this happening, or at least Jack being injured. And that's what we'll go into. Now, if we find out midweek that Jack's not doing as well as what we thought, then you know how it's. You guys can move the personnel as well as I can. So how we do it.
Gary, South Carolina's 12 sacks already. It's obviously a challenge for your offensive line.
Yeah, great defensive ends, defensive tackles, very, very good up front. Big athletes, running athletes in the perimeter. Obviously, very good. Overall, they're real good. So that's our challenge. It's always going to be. It's not going to be we're going to see others too. So we're seeing some great defenses in this league, but these guys are real challenging. Their backups are also, and then very athletic defensive tackles also. So, that you can't. You got to be able to block. The fundamentals of blocking, running, catching. All the different things you have to do. Tackling. Those are things you have to do, and certainly we'll try to help our line out the best we can, but you're going to be faced with some one-on-one situations, and you're going to have to get it done.
Coach, I imagine you're probably ready to move on from the topic by now, but did you say you were surprised that James wasn't ready to go?
You know what? We have to understand this. I have never made a medical decision ever. I've never went up to a trainer ever since I've ever been coaching and even said, get a guy ready. Not once in 22 years as head coach, ever. The medical staff does a great job in working with our athletes and parents on medicine, on treatments, and all those things. And I never ever get involved at all. And anybody that questions James Franklin's toughness, they have to have been in a coma for the last 2 years. So he's one of the toughest athletes I've ever been around. No, I just, she just threw it at me, and I just was going to be honest there as much as I can, but certainly, our medical staff and trainers do those things, and they just tell me, can you play or not play? Then we go from there.
Have you encountered that type of thinking of how the Franklin family and James before? Did you
That's private, that's medical, those are medical things, and I really don't want to get into that. James is a great competitor. You know, we have great respect. The players, we're a family here, okay? You know, and we support each other. And so that's the way him and his family are, and that's fine. And we just, again, the big thing we have to do is just make sure that we're ready one way or the other. And I thought Corbin, actually, I thought he went and did a really good job.
Is it a little unique that it's not a structural issue, it's not a ligament or bone, it's just pain?
No, I think that's good. It's great that it's not structural. I mean, it's great that his labrums and everything's, that's, so hopefully he'll get through the soreness and he'll be able to play this week.
As far as how you're going to tackle him in practice this week, are you just going to throw him right in and see how he responds, or is there a plan to kind of ease him in with his shoulder? How's he going to?
Well, we never touch our quarterbacks during the week at all, so that's not a good idea to hit your own quarterbacks. That's all of the medical staff. We'll have a staff meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, actually 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll be in as a staff at 7, but a full staff at 9. And Rex Sharp will be in there like he always is, and he'll tell us what he thinks he can do or can't do, and he'll adjust accordingly in practice. We do that with every single player we have on our team.
We talked about helping out the offensive line, especially. And is this a game where Eric Waters and Jeremy Colbert could see more action in protection for whoever the quarterback is?
Well, there's a lot of different things you can do to help your quarterback. You know, one thing is you can change the launch point of the quarterback. You know, you can change whether he throws the ball at 3 steps or 5 steps or 7 steps, which are different times. You can play action. You can do misdirection. You can half roll them, sprint them, just change the timing, the launch point. So we do that quite a bit. I thought we did a pretty good job of that last week, and just calling plays. Probably a lot of you who couldn't figure it out when we were doing it anyway, from the standpoint of what we're trying to do. But 3-step drops you get off are a lot different than 5 and 7-step drops, and those type of things. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can bring an extra guy in to block. You can do that. Now, when you bring somebody else in to block, then you start bringing other perimeter people in tighter too. So it's kind of against the theory of a spread offense. But we have some challenges there. There's no question about it.
Obviously, the hope is that James is out there and playing. You've gotten a lot more opportunity to see Corbin than we have. Can you talk about his ability just as far as mobility within the pocket and getting away from pressure?
Well, I think he does a pretty good job. I thought he extended the play several times. I thought it was a really good start for a young player, a redshirt freshman, with an offensive line that is young also. It's not like we have a veteran offensive line up there. And so I really think he did some good things. We did better in third downs in this game we've done all year, and he made some great throws in third downs. In fact, that's when he was at his best, and when we needed some third down throws. And so Coach Yost was, when he called plays, you call plays different for him than you did James. You're a little in different parts of the field. Your decision, we want to make sure we put him in positions where he can be successful, as we did when James was, a year ago at this time when he was playing early, and you just kind of earn the right to open the playbook up a little bit more, and so that's what we did. Our time of possession was a lot different than normally is. I think you all noticed that. Well, that was a lot the play calling that we did, and but I thought he did some really, really good things. Certainly there's other things that he's got to do better, but it's a very difficult situation, and as you all know, you look at win-loss records and teams lose their starting quarterbacks. It becomes very difficult, and we got a good victory, so I feel good about that.
After looking at the film, did you get a better idea of what happened on some of the field goal snaps?
Yeah. We got to talk about that a little bit. First of all, I call it the specialty part of the kicking game and the specialists. And we work out, if you've been to our practices, which you have before, every single practice we start with specialty. And so those players we pull out that are punt return, kickoff return, snappers, holders, punters, kickers, we pull them out and we work 8 to 10 minutes every single practice since the day I've been coaching on the specialty part of the kicking game. This has nothing to do with the guys blocking for punt or the guys on the kickoff return team players. This is the specialty part of it. And you diligently work on it because of all the if you don't do the basics, how it can break everything down. So I was disappointed in that. We had a muffed punt return. Marcus did a great job. He's tops in the country, which is great. But he muffed one too. I mean, that's what you don't want to happen. We had a punt snap over the head, punter's head, which you don't want to happen. We had some poor holds, and we had some poor snaps. And So a combination of all those things, which is coaching, and we work hard at coaching, but bottom line, it isn't good enough, okay? And so that starts with me and our coaching staff. Those things, it doesn't mean that you're going to line up and make every field goal, but if you know that the snap is perfect and the hold is perfect, then you give your kicker a great chance of making a field goal. And the majority of those, they weren't very good. And it has a lot to do with where the ball's placed and timing and everything else. So we're not making any changes right now. We're looking at a few things this week in practice, but there's no changes right now that we're going to make.
Would you consider working on longer practice, or do you just stay with what you've been doing?
You mean especially, you mean, as far as length? Yeah, we've done that before. There's other things we can do. We can pull guys out during our practices also and get them in more game type situations, which we've been doing a little bit. But again, you see how sloppy that gets when you get the breakdown. They did the same thing on a punt. They snap over the head or it hit the guy's hands and it bounced over his, the basic fundamentals. And that's why you work so hard on it, because the huge impact it can have on, certainly a game and winning or losing.
I know that you've spent a lot of time on the special teams practicing how the field goal is supposed to go properly, how spread punt is supposed to go when things go well. How much time do you spend, what do we do when the ball gets snapped over?
Well, if you watch this practice, and it's different than most places, we do everything live. So anytime there's a bad snap, anytime there's a ball over the head, you'll watch what happens. We just don't say, oh, it's a bad snap, this isn't live, and somebody go get the ball. That punter, Trey, just goes after it, man, and tries to do the best he could with the football, to do anything they could. Now, there wasn't really many options. Having had him throw the football probably wasn't the best. Well, it got intercepted. There's a lot of things that could have happened, but in the heat of the battle, where like he did, we almost got their guy in the backfield, and we almost did. Marcus almost got him, but he did barely get it off. That's how we teach him: is do anything you can to get it out of there. And I think it went about 20 yards. So we work on that all the time. If you're in one of our practices, a punt return, Marcus is practicing, just in a practice, and he hits it and it drops the ball, he's on it just like it's a game, So that's how we do everything. So. That's important, because when it does happen, you have to react and do the best you can. You might not be able to bail ourselves out, but you might, and so we work on that all the time. What's that? Yeah.
Gary, can you just trace Caronte's ascent since he's been here and how he's developed? I know he.
Yeah, came from junior college. He's came in with a guy with it, wasn't very quiet, really checking us out. I call it earning trust when you walk in here and you see a new coach and people. Can I trust Coach Pinkel? Can I trust the staff? Can I trust the players? And for a period of time, I think he, a few months or so, he was really, he was struggling with that a little bit, and finally, I think as it develops like a family around here. And even if some of the players you can trust Coach Pinkel, or you can trust Coach Grinch or whoever, Coach Steck, players have got to feel that themselves. And it was neat to see how that's developed with him as the months and months went on, and really see him mature as a young man. And he's a very very disciplined. He's very focused. This team's really, really important to him. He's really embraced this football team. You can tell that, like the last 2 years. And it's just neat to see things like that happen to people like that.
Caronte said before, when you got here in 2010, that he actually asked to redshirt that year.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Generally, junior college players don't, but I think he kind of felt that that would help him. That would help him get his feet on the ground here a little bit, and learn the system and kind of get comfortable with all the things I'm talking to you about. I think there was not a real comfort zone with all that, and then I remember talking to staff about that, and we said if we can do it, we'll do it. And we're able to do it. The first thing is if we needed to help the team, we had to do that for sure. But we were positioned then that we could do that, and he really did. I think that was really good for him, without question.
But can you kind of break down the quarterback play? I mean, it seemed like Kip had a lot of play last week.
Yeah, Kip. Starting with Kip, the interception he made it was a great play. Him jumping in front of that and anticipation, and he really looked this game kind of was maybe one of his best games he's played. Last year he played very, very well for us. You know, he had that hamstring issue or knee issue that he had, you know, all during two-a-days, and it was nice to see him back going 100%. And so he had an outstanding game, made a lot of plays, had a fumble recovery also, and really did some great coverage things. And EJ, we keep talking about him every week. I mean, he's special. He's a difference maker at corner. He's a guy he's a remarkable competitor. Just very, very talented. He's got a gift for playing that position. I remember when he got here and I saw him doing some punt returns as a young freshman, just, you know, we were just trying guys out. And I asked him once, because a lot of times guys like that want to play tailback, you know, they want in college, just want to play tailback. And he said to me, I asked him about in the field, I said, you just want to play tailback? No, I said, I love playing corner, I want to play defense. He says, I love playing corner. Well, that's the way he practices and that's the way he plays, and he's very gifted too. And it's neat to see him out there. He's a pretty remarkable guy.
If I recall, you guys recruited Corbin, he was pretty young, you saw something, what do you remember that you liked about him?
Well, he was in our camps, I believe. I think he committed to us almost after his sophomore year or something, right before his junior year. I can't tell you exactly when it was, but we just saw an athlete. He had a very, very good arm. You know, he was a good student. He was a guy that we just felt had all the really great ability, and we liked him. And that's why we made that decision. He was kind of off the radar. Once he committed to us, he was kind of off the radar recruiting-wise. But we felt like we had a really good young player.
Did you sense any nerves in him the other night once that decision was made right before?
Yeah, well, we you know, what we do is we tell him, we told him to anticipate it happening, okay, just because that's wise to do that, you know. And I think that's, I think, you know, certainly he was a little nervous, and that's okay. But honestly, he settled down out there fast. And he kept, you know, one of the big things for quarterbacks, even when things don't go well, can you maintain your poise? You know, that means are you in control of things. Even though might not be playing well or you might be playing great, it doesn't matter. Can you maintain your poise and your focus and not get caught up in all the stuff? And you've seen NFL quarterbacks get caught up in it. And you know, he just seemed very, very focused the entire evening. You know, and even when we were 3 and outs, and you know, or he threw an incomplete. But you know, I was really pleased with that.
But how much different is it to have seen him do that now, and how does it change your perception of him to know he's got that under his belt?
Well, I think you know, it's all about experience level. There's only one way you gain experience is playing. There's no other way you can get it. You know, it's kind of like a guy interviews for a job, and he might be the most outstanding category, but you look at him and say, well, you know, right out of college, you don't have experience, and you know, we've all been there. So. You know, I've been there myself a long time ago. So that's the same way. You've got to get experience. You got to go play. So I think, you know, he looks at the things as we always do that you know, that he can do better, and he also, you know, he did some really, really good things in there. Really exceptional on third down. So I was really, really impressed. He made some really good throws on third down when it was really, really important for us to move the football.
How much did his work in the spring with the first team help him as he developed?
I think it helped him a little bit. I don't think there's any question about that. Working all with the first team players, and I think James is his biggest supporter. So they're very good friends, and I think that certainly James probably helped him out throughout the day, as Coach Yost does. But you know, certainly wasn't perfect, but it was a really good start. If you know, we have, you know, our red zone offense isn't doing very good. And if we could say that we're scored 90% of the time within a red zone, you know, we probably maybe wouldn't win another game, and we wouldn't be sitting on the end of this game to the very, very end. So, you know, we've got to fix that. You know, we're playing good people. We understand that we got to do a lot better job than what we're doing.
How long before the game did he find out Corbin Day started?
I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes after. We had it all set up that he would go out and try to throw. And then as soon as he felt like that he wasn't comfortable enough to do it, he did that after about 6 or 7 minutes of throwing. And then we just went over to Corbin and said, "You're on." He says, "Okay." So we go. So that's just preparing your players. So it went well.
When you look at where the fourth quarter's gone, the last couple of weeks, you get outscored by quite a bit. What can you do to where I know you've talked about it over the years, working on that?
Well, I think you work on it there too, but I also think that, you know, the big part of that has been our kicking game. You know, we've been down there, we've been in position, and through poor kicks, poor snaps, poor holds, things like that, then turnovers, you know, that, you know, those are things right now. If you come away, you know, much more efficient. So you just don't look at our offense there. You know, you come away with if you'd have said every one of those that we didn't make, we had field goals on, it'd probably be different games. And so that's the first thing we have to fix. We're going to try to work hard to get that done, and then we'll emphasize it. We'll get into a couple periods. We'll call it the fourth quarter in practice, and we'll look for perfect execution, and consecutive plays and things like that. And certainly as coaches, we try to evaluate our play calling and what we can do, as we always do, as Coach Yost does and Coach Steck, and what we can do to help our players out.
Here's South Carolina related things. Do you have any stance on the Battle of the Columbias thing that Coach Spurrier was talking about, a potential trophy? And then also, just if you could look back at the impact of that 2005 bowl game on what you guys did.
Well, I didn't know about that. I'm trying to win a football game. I don't know nothing about the Battle of the Columbias. I know Columbia, Missouri is a great place to live, and I'm told Columbia, South Carolina is a great place also. So, if we want to have the Battle of the Columbias, if Coach Spurrier he must have more time on his hands than I do. So, no, I got great respect for him. I got to know him at the bowl game. We were fortunate to come back and get that win. That was a long time ago. Most of these players, I think, were probably in the fourth grade. So.
But just from the stance of building the program.
Well, yeah, and Chad, who does a great job in dealing with the media and helps me out considerably, and he has a stat that's from that game on, we've won 75% of our games or something. I don't know what the number is. So that was kind of a huge point for us program-wise. But I wouldn't recommend getting that far down again.
I noticed that Coney Ely's back at the top of the depth chart. Can you talk about some of the positive things you saw there?
Oh, he played really well last week, and Brad played pretty good too. And it's really just kind of between those guys, those three guys, and Michael Sam too. One playing better than the other. That we consider them both. That's why we have Orr on there, because we're considering both starters. But here's a big athlete. He's a redshirt sophomore. He really got the redshirt his first year. Last year did a lot of good things, and he's really coming on his own as he matures. And he's a big, strong player, and his motor. He's thinking a lot less now. He plays hard. He's got a fat, quick motor. He's going all the time, and he really created some problems. And he's only a sophomore, so it's really nice to see him do these kind of things. But all these things were anticipated. I mean, he's an athlete out of high school that we felt that had potential to be a really, really good defensive end. And as he matures, he'll get better and better.
Kelly was able to scramble outside the pocket some, make some plays that you mentioned were kind of out there. What kind of role did the defensive ends have in containing? Is there I guess what I'm trying to say, do you give up some of that?
Well, yeah, but you also want to you have rushing lanes that you try to maintain, and if you go inside, you try to make sure you get back out quick enough, and especially for a quarterback that can scramble well. So all those things we have to look at, and you give him credit. I mean, those were great plays. So just good quarterback doesn't do that. You have to have something more in you to make those two plays that guy made, and that was enough to probably get him 2 touchdowns instead of a field goal attempt or a punt possibly. So. But that's, we look at that, contain or secondary contain, you have those other things. The one that we knocked down on fourth down when they got the ball down, was 2nd and 2 on the 2-yard line. That first time down there, when they did that rollout to the right side, we had every single guy covered. And then our secondary run support contain guy was Will Ebner, and so he couldn't run with the football either. And he tried to make a throw, and then Ronte knocked that ball down. I had no idea who knocked it down. I had no idea what happened until all I knew is there were going to be cheers or no cheers, and I'm glad I heard cheers.
Gary, in terms of preparation for this week against South Carolina, not knowing for sure who they're going to start at quarterback, what challenges?
Well, I talked to our, I've seen quite a bit of film. Our defensive staffs have seen a lot more today, and they think they're very similar play calling. It's very, very similar, and the other guys, both of them are doing a good job. I have no idea, who's going to play or who's not going to play, and we got to be prepared for both. But it's not like one guy goes in, he's completely different than the other. I think they recruit certain types of quarterbacks, and they parallel each other a lot. Obviously, one's much more experienced, but backup player that's gone in, I think, has done a real good job in execution.
Has there been any discussion about figuring a way to limit the number of hits your quarterbacks are taking? It seems like Corbin kind of had to pick himself up off the deck a lot, and James obviously.
Yeah, well, you watch the NFL, you just watch everybody. I mean, it's a couple 2 strides, and hitting the quarterback, and we always look at those all the time. I don't know, they. As my guy I played college football with, Jack Lambert, who's in the Hall of Fame, played for the Steelers, said that he said pretty soon we're going to start putting dresses on those quarterbacks, and so he was complaining about that 15 years ago. But from a safety standpoint, I think it's something that we all have to be concerned about, because if quarterbacks start getting hurt a lot, that really hurts the game. We understand that. Everybody's different when their backup quarterback. Ask the Indianapolis Colts. So, that's something that I think they really try to get the roughing, and I think that the referee does a real good job of trying to make sure that he makes good decisions back there. But there really hasn't been any talk about any rule changes in terms of when you can hit or not hit.
Game planning, do you think, do we want to limit the number of options we run with these quarterbacks?
Well, those kind of things, I think you look at that. I also think that you have to look at the player you have and what he can do, what he can't do, what he's good at, what he's not good at, and take advantage of it and the number of hits players get. James felt he told me Sunday after the Georgia game, he said he felt great. He wasn't sore at all. The only thing that was sore was that little spot on his shoulder. That was the only. Other than that, he felt as good as he's felt. And he ran a lot different in that game too. He went down more. He was smart about how he did it. He went more to the sidelines when he got outside. He didn't take on very many big hits at all. And but we have to watch that. You have to be cautious of that. What you do.
There also wasn't as many deep balls against Arizona State. Was that kind of like you said, a concession to having a young quarterback try to guard against turnovers, or is it with the line struggling and you maybe just not going to have a lot of time?
No, a lot of times the long balls you can sit back and set and throw because receivers run so fast. You don't have to wait real long. I don't think it was really that. I think what happened was we just were into really trying to move the football, keep the chains moving. We got some good field position. We took advantage of that. We got some scores. But I think when you look at that and what happens is you're calling plays. And I remember when I was at Washington calling plays, and you're struggling moving it a little bit. The last thing you want to do is start out with a 2nd and 10. You're throwing incomplete, downfield. Now if you make those throws, chances are it might stretch the defense and maybe allow other things to open. So it's kind of a should I or should I not type thing. And we should throw the ball downfield a little bit more. And we should, but we based on just trying to keep the chains moving and so on, we didn't do it as much as probably we should have.
Is it looking less likely for Sean Colton?
We got to make that decision because he's got the cast off now. He's missed a few games. We're going to talk to him about that and see where we're going to go with that. And probably should know sometime this week what we're going to do. And discuss that every Monday. So he got the cast completely off. They'll put a wrap on it right now, but he got the okay to play now. We'll see what happens. He's a really, really good young player. We just don't want to waste the year with him working his way back in.
When you see a player like Pinkel make 2 plays back-to-back late in a game like that, do you chalk that up to coincidence that happened, or is there something? Does that say something about a player?
Well, I just think it says something special about him. He's very focused back there. He works hard. Like I said, he loves to play football. And he takes a lot of pride in doing things right for his team. That's real important for him to deliver, and he delivered in a big way.
After looking at the South Carolina team we have, do they do anything similar to Georgia defensively?
They're just very talented, like Georgia. They are. They run some different stuff scheme wise. Everybody's got their own schemes that they use, but they're very, very talented. They when they get into passing situations like we do, we change our defensive front in passing situations. They do the same thing. A lot of people don't do that, but they do the exact same thing, like they do with Alden with the 49ers. Do the same thing. They bring him in passing situations, and so they have a good scheme. They're well coached. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.